Hey, friend, welcome back to the Mindful Journal podcast. I'm Alexis, and I am so grateful that you're here with me today. Now, if you're anything like me, you've probably experienced this delicate dance between pushing yourself forward and knowing when to take a step back. It's not always easy to figure out whether you need to lean in and challenge yourself or simply let go and allow space for rest and renewal. This is something that I've had to learn and still learning. And, it's all through trial and error, through burnout, breakthroughs, and by becoming deeply aware of my own body, mind, and heart. And that's what I want to explore with you today. How to recognize when you need to push yourself to grow and when it's time to rest and recharge. We're going to talk about the moments when you feel called to step outside of your comfort zone, which is kind of where I am right now. And then we're also going to talk about how to know when that's exactly what you need. And then also how to listen to the signals when your body is telling you it's time for a break. I want you to walk away today with some real insight on how to balance push and rest so that you can honor your journey and take care of yourself in the process. All right, y'all, so let's dive into this. When do you need to push? When you're striving towards something meaningful, there comes a time when you can feel yourself on the edge of growth. It's like that moment that you sense the possibility of something new or something more. But there's that familiar voice telling you that it's uncomfortable or it's easier to stay where you are, right? Complacency, you get too comfortable where you already are. And here's the thing, comfort isn't always growth. Growth actually requires discomfort. It requires you to step beyond the known and getting into my mom mode, my frozen, and into the unknown, right? And that's what creates the space for your biggest breakthroughs. So, how do you know when you're ready to step into the unknown? Well, you feel like this mixture of excitement and fear. When you feel that little flutter in your chest, that I'm nervous, I can't shake this excitement. That's your soul calling you to take the leap. There's something magical about that balance of fear and excitement because it means you're right on the edge of something new. Here's another way to know when you're ready. When you feel stuck, stagnant, unchallenged, it's like your current routine feels safe but uninspiring. It might be time to push yourself. Complacency is so often disguised as comfort. It's easy to stay where it feels familiar. And that's literally what I'm going through right now. And I just had the realization, maybe over the last 2 or 3 days, where I'm like, you know what? This isn't comfort, it's complacency. And it's time for me to step out of this, what I called a comfort zone, but it's really a complacent zone. It's time to step out of it and stretch beyond that, right? And you'll never know what you're capable of until you stretch beyond that. And you deserve to feel challenged and alive in your journey. Another way to know when you're ready is when you've, in a sense, prepared. Now, we're not always prepared for life's outcomes or discomfort. We're not always ready to, face discomfort. Sometimes we're kind of thrown into it. But if you've been with me long enough and been journaling and doing the mindful practices, then you've been doing the work, right? Again, whether that's reflecting or learning something new or journaling or just building new habits, this is your starting line. You are now standing at your starting line. And this is the moment when you have to start trusting yourself and lean in, even when it feels uncertain, even when you're unsure, and when there's much discomfort. This is your moment. This is your starting line. So when is it time to rest? Pushing is important, but resting is just as powerful. Because without rest, we eventually hit burnout. And rest isn't and should not be treated as a luxury. It's a necessity for sustainability. And I'll say it every episode if I have to, you cannot pour from an empty cup. So how do you know when it's time to rest? Well, the first thing is that your body is literally physically drained, right? You feel exhausted, your energy is low, and you're starting to feel like even the smallest tasks are hard to do. They're a struggle. That's when you need to listen. Listen to your body, because this is not a sign of weakness. It's your body's way of telling you it needs to recover. It needs to rest. And when we ignore those signals, that's when things start to break down. The second way to know when it's time to rest is when your mind feels foggy or uninspired, right? If you've been in like hustle mode or go mode for too long, your mental clarity is going to start to fade. Creativity and motivation will start to dry up, and the things you used to enjoy might start to feel like chores. And this is your body's way of asking for space to rest and reset. The third way to know is when you've been pushing too long without rest. And I know this sounds similar to another one, but hear me out. It's when you've been working hard, again, hustling, burning the candle at both ends, right? This is the gentle nudge to pause. Rest isn't just about lying down. It's also about letting go of the pressure to perform just for a while so that you can come back stronger. And then finally, it's when your intuition is telling you to pause, right? Sometimes you just know it's time to rest. Even when your to-do list is long and others are pushing forward, that quiet voice inside you, that's your intuitive nudge telling you that you need to slow down. And it's a very powerful voice to listen to, your own, right? Coming from inside you. So listening to your intuition is a form of self-trust and an invitation to recalibrate. Do not ignore it. When you honor that pause, it's often when your greatest moments of clarity and creativity arise. So let's talk about recognizing comfort versus complacency. Here's a truth that's sometimes hard to hear but important to know. Again, comfort does not always mean growth. When life feels easy, when everything is flowing and there's no friction, it can be easy to get complacent, especially if you've gone through the struggle, right? But when is the last time that you felt stretched? When was the last time you said, wow, this is uncomfortable, but I'm doing it anyway? Growth often requires discomfort. Complacency does not push you forward. It keeps you where you are. It keeps you stagnant. If you've been feeling stuck in a routine that no longer excites you or challenges you or motivates you, this is a sign to stretch. Ask yourself, where in my life have I become too comfortable? Where am I settling for safe and familiar when I know that I'm capable of more? So we're going to go through about 4 steps to help us recognize when we're either comfortable or complacent. So step 1. Tune into your body's signals. Start by checking in with yourself. What is your body telling you? Are you energized and feeling that spark of excitement, or are you drained and craving peace? Your body is a powerful guide, and it's always going to send you signals. Pay attention to those signals, and if you're pushing too much, your body will let you know. If it's time to rest, it's going to tell you that too. Step 2. Trust your readiness and lean into discomfort. When you feel that combination of fear and excitement, trust that that's your invitation to grow. Embrace the discomfort, right? Because that's where growth lives. Take the step forward even if you're unsure. Do it. It's in those moments that your greatest breakthroughs will happen. Step 3. Practice compassionate self-care. It's so easy to get caught in the hustle, but you can't thrive if you're constantly running on empty. Show yourself grace and compassion. Give yourself permission to rest when you need it. And don't confuse rest with laziness. Rest is actually a form of strength. It does not mean that you're not being productive. Rest is productivity. When you pause to rest, you're giving your future self the energy and clarity needed to rise and meet your next challenge. Step 4, reflect and reevaluate your goals. It's about, again, checking in with yourself, but not just about where you're going and why you're going there. Sometimes when we're pushing ourselves, we lose sight of why we started or what really matters. It's easy to get caught in that grind, but if you don't stop to reflect and reevaluate, you'll find yourself pushing toward a goal that no longer serves you or feels aligned. And then you're just doing it just to do it. Take a moment to ask yourself, is this goal still the right one for me? Sometimes pushing for the sake of pushing can lead to chasing things that no longer fit your values or purpose. Regularly checking in allows you to realign and refocus on what is truly important. This helps you make decisions that come from a place of authenticity and not just as a desire to keep moving. All right, so it's time to pull your journal out and we're going to reflect. In your journal prompt, where in my life have I become too comfortable? What would it look like to stretch myself beyond my comfort zone? Write about where in your life you might need to rest. When have you been pushing too hard? And what does your body and mind need to recharge? So you're going to do both sides of this prompt, right? The first is, where in my life have I become too comfortable? What would it look like if I stretched myself beyond my comfort zone? Started working toward that dream or that goal that I have, right? You want to write about that first. And then your second point is, okay, now where in my life do I need to rest? Where do I need to recharge? Where have I been pushing maybe a little bit too hard? And it's time to kind of take a step back. This is a self-reflection and self-discovery prompt. It allows you to kind of see yourself from both sides of the spectrum. And you can pinpoint those areas where you're complacent. And you can pinpoint the areas where you can kind of release some pressure, let go, set boundaries, and rest. So life's a balance, right? It's just this balance of pushing and resting, being unsure, sometimes being certain. But the reality of pushing and resting is that both are necessary for growth and sustainability. Ask yourself, what do I need right now? And then here's the key part. Trust yourself enough to listen. Trust yourself enough to listen and know that you don't have to keep going just because somebody else is. Your journey is yours. It is yours to own. Remember that. I want to thank you for being here with me today. Keep nurturing your growth, honoring your limits, resting when you need to, and practice self-compassion every step of the way. Keep journaling, keep breathing, and I'll see you soon.